Welcome to the Business of Design podcast. I'm Cheryl Horn, Director of Operations for Business of Design. A lot has changed at Business of Design since this episode originally aired. For the latest information and rates on events and membership at Business of Design, head to businessofdesign.com. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to Business of Design. I'm Kimberley Seldon, and I bet you're thinking, man, she sounds tired. She sounds bagged. And you would be right. We just wrapped Business of Design's Conference 2020 in Las Vegas, and it was an extraordinary event in every way for me personally to be surrounded by this community of exactly 100 interior design professionals, hardworking, creative, talented, soulful men and women from Canada, the United States, and even Australia. Thank you, Donna Allen, who flew all the way from Sydney to be at the conference. It was so great to connect with you again. I want to share some of the takeaways I learned from these amazing interior designers and the speakers who took the stage, who were also amazing, by the way. So it's going to be a little free-spirited this episode because it's just top of mind, whatever I think of as I move through those 2 days in my mind and try to recapture some of the highlights. No announcements today, just this one. We love you guys. I'm so glad you're here.
Welcome to the Business of Design podcast with Kimberley Seldon. Business of Design is the coaching community for independent designers like you. We know it takes more than hard work and talent to successfully run a professional design firm. There are proven business strategies that can solve your immediate challenges and transform your life. Don't try to do this alone. Join today and you'll have access to more than 100 video courses, participate in monthly coaching calls, and find unlimited support within our exclusive members-only Facebook group. Unlike traditional coaching, BOD is a fast track to immediate results for independent interior designers, decorators, architects, stagers, and landscapers just like you. Monthly membership is only $79. Annual members save 2 months. What are you waiting for? We all know design matters. At Business of Design, we think designers matter too.
Christopher Kennedy, when he spoke, and that was a big surprise for everybody in the audience, Christopher said, we say what we need to hear. That's why I talk Business of Design so frequently, because I need constant reminders to stay the course, to be true, to be authentic, to value my expertise. Without the constant reminders, it's so easy to get off course. And I spoke to so many of you who could totally relate to that. You have a year and everything is going great, and you're feeling powerful and connected and in the zone. And suddenly, 3 months later, you look up and everything has changed and you're down a different path. It's not going at all well. And there's a crisis of consciousness and you're wondering, maybe I should quit. Maybe I'm in the wrong business. And what I want to say to you is you are not alone. There's not a single working interior design professional out there who hasn't had a moment where they thought, I can't do this anymore. It is too hard. I am so grateful for those of you who were willing to be vulnerable and tell the truth at the conference. And I am eternally grateful for each and every one of you for embracing all of those moments that happened at the conference. Your courage is a daily inspiration to me. So we talked at the conference about highs and lows, right? We did structured learning. Of course, that's how the conference is set up and that's how the program was designed. We talked about how to hire, how to do performance reviews, and how to fire. A couple of people following the conference asked me about salary negotiations, so I want to clear up that right away. You definitely talk salary with new hires early on, because you want to make sure you're not spending your valuable time interviewing someone whose salary expectations are either unreasonable or just not available to you. So you definitely want to weed out those candidates who just aren't in the ballpark. And someone said it at the conference, I can't remember who it was, but someone said, sometimes you pay a lot extra thinking you're going to get a better employee. And the truth is that doesn't necessarily result in the best hire. I've done that myself many times. So throwing money at the problem doesn't always resolve the issue. The best way to hire well is to have a structured program for hiring. We have a 7-step process for hiring, and then we have additional steps related to progressive discipline and firing. We've not had to use the firing with one exception in the last 15 years because our hiring is so buttoned down. So you don't want to fire someone? Get your hiring in order. Next, we all learned the Jedi mantra. Oh my gosh. How much did you love Shannon? We did a 3-month coaching stint together and really helped me figure out my positioning for Business of Design. And I shared with you Business of Design's mission statement and some of the goals we have in the coming years. And Shannon was instrumental in helping us pull those together. But the Jedi mantra, right? Who's the prize? Who's the expert? You are. You are the expert. And if you can't be the expert at the beginning of the project, I guarantee you will not be seen as an expert in the middle of the project or the end of the project. So channeling the confidence that allows you to show up to every job as the expert is not just good for you and feels good, it's essential to your survival. If you don't have the confidence and the power to stand in your own authentic space and be the expert, you cannot succeed in this business. You can't. That's why we placed Shannon beside Dr. Gans, so you'd hear both sides of the story. You've got to protect yourself first. You've got to get in your power, and then you have to be the expert and you have to lead. You can't be the expert if you're not leading. Experts lead. That's hard, right? Sometimes I just want to turn things over to someone else because I don't know everything. That was a theme that came up a lot, but I don't know everything. So this is really freeing when you get this, guys. You'll never know everything, never. But your superpower is knowing who to ask. Clients feel totally overwhelmed at the thought of a renovation or a decorating project, so they turn to someone they perceive to be an expert. And when that expert shows up and doesn't have confidence, it undermines the client's choice. Clients are desperate for us to be the authority on projects and take the lead. And they will accept that we don't know everything. What they want to hear, what we all want to hear when we're outside our comfort zone and we need something to be done, what we all want to hear is, I know exactly who to ask. You leave that with me, right? I mentioned this previously, but Business of Design has lofty goals. We are on a mission to change the interior design industry, one designer, one business at a time. We see ourselves as the world's leading authority in business training for interior design professionals. That's pretty bold, right? That's our position. Those are the shoes we're trying to fill on your behalf. Something Team BOD and I talk about a fair bit in the last few years is how are we going to pass the torch of learning and knowledge so Business of Design will continue on for the next generation and the next, because it's sorely needed and the work has barely begun. So there was this moment at the conference for me that was overwhelming and powerful. And it had to do with 4 interior design professionals taking the stage to answer questions from the audience. These 4 people weren't randomly chosen. No, they are Business of Design advocates. And what's an advocate? Well, an advocate is someone who's already implemented Business of Design's 15-step project management strategy. They've made it work in their world. They're profitable. They have systems in place, systems that run their business. And as Lori Steves put it, they're evangelists for Business of Design, and we're so grateful to them. Having them on stage was an aha moment for me. So Rebecca Ward, Christopher Shields, Michelle Hurley, and Lori Steves, as I mentioned, 4 advocates, took questions from the conference attendees and answered them with such wisdom and authority and confidence. It was such a beautiful moment. I have goosebumps thinking about it because I realized in the middle of the conversation that I don't have to worry about passing the torch. It's already passed. It's already lit. And from one designer to another, the wisdom gets passed. And we can talk to each other because we get each other. You can sign up for coaching with anyone you want, and you might learn some things, but only another interior design professional who has real clients and real budgets can understand how complicated, how challenging, how stressful, how wonderful your business is. Nobody else. You cannot get it from reading a book, and you cannot get it from hanging around with us. It takes skin in the game. So these four amazing human beings took the stage, answered questions, and stepped off that stage, I think, ready to take on the world. I'm eternally grateful to each one of them and to each one of you who has taken the hand of another interior design professional and said, come on, there's a better way. Let's do this together. Day 2 started with some pretty heavy-hitting learning from Heather and Frank at Build Lane. They shared a checklist for ordering custom furniture. It's an extremely detailed checklist. And for some people in the audience, I bet they were thinking, I don't need all this information. But by the end, they were convinced. If you answer every single question your supplier is going to have before they ask it, you can place orders with confidence. You can place orders more quickly, and you can be assured that those orders will be exactly what you want them to be. That's terrifying to some people, again, because we don't know everything. How do I know what the sofa should be made of? How do I know what the cushion should be? What do I know about pitch back or depth or arm height or any of those things? This checklist allows you to become familiar with every single thing you need to know to produce a piece of custom furniture, or, by the way, to buy a piece of furniture off the floor of any store you like, to make one set of decisions and then move forward indefinitely as the expert on the type of furniture you want to sell. I know exactly what kind of sofa I want to sell to clients. There might be some changes in terms of the depth or the length or the color of the upholstery, but I know exactly how I want an upholstered piece of furniture to be made, and I can be the expert with clients. We strongly recommend the following sofa. 100% of my clients love the performance of a sofa that's made exactly this way. I'm very grateful for the checklist on custom upholstery. And as you know, if you were at the conference, you fill out that survey, we're going to also send you a checklist for case goods. We will add these checklists to Business of Design's online learning platform sometime in 2020. So we'll keep you updated. Those of you who are members, monthly or annual members, you will have access to them as well. It was a hard act to follow, but Janine and I took the stage to talk about the operations manual and the labor of love it has been to work on this beast. Que bestia. It is nearly 1,000 pages. It captures the minute detail of every single system that runs our office. We shared with everybody at the conference the office administration section, a portion of that section, and they all went home with the entire section, which is going to be eye-opening and life-changing for them. I'm positive of it. I talked about the fact that when I first started my business and someone said you need an operations manual, I thought that was ridiculous. I'm not, Ford. I'm not building cars. I don't need an operations manual. I know what I'm doing. And if I hire someone, I'll just tell them what I need. Well, that experiment went dismally. We used to have a rotating door of staff. They would come in, they would go out. They would come in, they would go out. There was no formal training. There was nothing that set those people up to succeed. In fact, at our celebratory dinner, we talked about a guy that we first hired to run Business of Design, and we had no systems and procedures, and that poor man just couldn't succeed. He was a wonderful human being. We loved him. there was no path he could follow to success. And so we wore him out. And I realized early on in the life of Business of Design that Business of Design also needs an operations manual, which we now have. But that's not the one we talked about at the conference. We talked about the one that we use at Kimberley Seldon Design Group, the one that we've built and continue to improve over 15 years of working on large projects and small. Prior to editing the operations manual for the Business of Design community, it looked like a house that had been added onto over many years, one addition at a time with no architectural planning or cohesiveness. Every single page of the operations manual was added to either solidify a process or, more likely, fix a problem. We're having a problem. This can't happen again. What are we going to do? Let's figure this out. And so some of the pages have vivid memories of painful experiences for me. Janine Laudenbach, she's the director of programming at Business of Design. She comes from a municipal government background. She's very familiar with process and a stickler for details. So she and I have been working together 15 hours a week for more than 9 months to fine-tune the operations manual. So it's structured using Business of Design's 15-step project management strategy. We want it to be user-friendly and infinitely helpful to those of you who need it. When the operations manual is released, it will be $695 to purchase, and it will come with a PDF as well as a Word document. So you'll be able to remove my logo and add your own and make any modifications you need. Announcements about the release date for the operations manual will be coming soon. We had a few surprises at the conference, and one of them was a wonderful guy named Christopher Kennedy. If you guys know Palm Springs Design, you know Christopher Kennedy. Christopher was going to be in Las Vegas, and he phoned me a week before the conference and said, I finally did it. I doubled my fees. We put Christopher on stage for about 15 minutes, and every single one of us wants more Christopher. So you can bet we will have him back for sure. And in fact, we'll be doing something with Christopher in October at the Palm Springs retreat. We'll announce details about the retreat soon. It will sell out really quickly because we have a long waiting list already of people interested. So Christopher got on stage and wowed us with his revelation after meeting Business of Design 9 months previously that it was time to double his fees, and he did it. And you know what happened? Nothing. Nobody blinked. Everybody thought his fees were too low. In fact, he shared a story about a client telling him she would have paid twice what he charged her, and in fact, probably 3 times what he charged her. The lesson, the moral of the story is, it's pretty likely you are the only person who thinks you cannot raise your rate. And specifically, if a client has ever told you your rates are too low, please believe them and raise them. Be brave. Try it. And then we had another surprise. Business of Design launched its very first episode of BOD to Go, starring the fabulous trio of Darcy Heather from New York City, Leanne Bonnell, and Nyla Free from Calgary, Alberta. These 3 run mature, sophisticated, profitable, thriving interior design businesses. By any measure, they are at the top of their game. And they shared with such vulnerability what's really happening in their businesses, the highs and the lows, because it's always all there. You could have your very best year ever in terms of profitability, but have the worst year of your life. You could also have a year where you lose money or your profits are really poor, but you took the time to seed your business and get your systems in order so that the following year you could explode. And that's a story that we heard as well. We even heard a story of someone who got fired. None of us wants to admit that we get fired on a project, but sometimes it happens. In this case, the designer recognized that she got fired because she didn't follow her own systems and procedures. That's how that happened. It's not because the client's a bad person. It's not because the client's a jerk. It's because the designer, who's an amazing human being, didn't follow her own rules. That's how you get fired. by getting off the beam. Going back to my very first point, which is, why do I talk about business of design so much? Because I do not want to be off the beam. It hurts. It's painful. I've had those terrible years and I don't want them. Very grateful to these 3 people who helped us launch BOD to go, and we will be releasing episodes in 2020. We ended the conference with Team BOD on stage, and you guys were able to ask us anything. And one of the funniest moments of the entire conference happened when one of the designers in the audience said, I want to know what everybody makes, and I want to know what Kimberly makes. And her question specifically was, can I make $1 million? And my answer is yes. And she was digging and she was digging. She wanted to know more and she wanted to know more. And she wanted to know if I'd ever made $1 million in profit, not revenue, in profit. And here I am sitting on stage. I have staff sitting beside me, right? Can you guys feel what this might have felt like for me just for a minute? I have staff sitting beside me. I do not pay them $1 million annually, although I think they're worth it. And somebody is asking me if I've ever made $1 million in a single calendar year. If you weren't at the conference, you didn't get my answer. Yeah, some things just have to stay in Vegas. It's true. If you are looking for a guarantee, every single year I'm going to make X, I think you might be in the wrong business. But if you are looking for the potential to have a 7-figure year, I know you're in the right business. And you're in the right company with Business of Design. We're the business training that can get you there. And remember, I'm the expert. I am the prize. I have to lead. By the way, you're going to hear more about the Jedi Mantra when I interview Blair Enns, and that's coming up very soon on a podcast. In the meantime, man, I love you guys. Thank you so much for letting me be me with all my imperfections, with all of my zigs and my zags. I feel so grateful to be part of this community. I don't feel alone anymore. I used to. I felt isolated. I felt alone. I felt disempowered. I don't anymore. I have 100 interior design professionals that I met this weekend who tell me they've doubled, tripled, quadrupled their fees. They've narrowed their focus. They're working with their ideal clients. They're ready to succeed. And then I have all of you. Maybe we haven't met face to face, but we know each other. I think we actually can change the industry. But to do that, we have to change ourselves first. So much love. See you next week.
Thank you for being a part of the Business of Design community. If you love what you hear on the podcast, take the next step by signing up at businessofdesign.com. As our thank you, you'll gain access to Business of Design's 15-step project management strategy, a free introductory course which includes 3 Business of Design systems you can implement for immediate results. And when you're ready for success, a Business of Design membership, monthly or annual, will dramatically improve your business and your life. What are you waiting for? Together we will achieve extraordinary results. Start today.